Hey, book club besties.
From Scrubs to Book Club, we're two burnt-out healthcare workers who love to yap about books. I'm Katie.
I'm Star, and welcome to Aimless Attention Podcast.
Today, we're talking about In the Likely Event by Rebecca Yarros. This is Star's first contemporary romance written by Rebecca Yarros. This is not the first one, not the last that I'll make her read, I'm sure.
I'm like offended. I'm like, how dare you?
This is one of my favorites, though. This is also getting turned into a movie, which is another reason I wanted to cover it because
all these fucking Afghanistan movies need to just be like.
So one thing about Rebecca Yarros, because her husband was in the military.
I figured she wrote too many things that were way too fucking close to home. I wasn't going to ask you when we were reading it, but because we were reading so many books to do this, I was like, I'll remember later.
Yeah, so all of her contemporary romances, at least the ones that I've read, typically the MMC is in the military of some sort.
Yes, but she like knows enough of it that it was like somebody had to be in it. Like it wasn't like one of those, oh, I accidentally just figured it out. Like
yeah, no, she's
you
very
lived
knowledgeable
through it.
Yeah.
Like
exactly. I do want to say apologies to anybody because I will mispronounce a lot of these because they're Afghanistan city names, places. I probably will mispronounce them and I'm sorry. And then the other thing is if it's referencing like military structure where it's a sergeant general, blah, blah, blah. I'm terrible with those. So I probably will mix those up as well. So just pointing that out, maybe Star could correct me on them. But I wanted to go through this book. If you listen to our problematic summer romance coverage, when we have books that go back and forth with timelines, it's really difficult to be like, and then in the past they did this, and then in the present they did this, and then in the past they did this. So for most books, what we'll probably do and what we did this time is I wrote the outline of we'll get the opening of the book, we'll set the scene, and then we're going to go into the past and we're going to chronologically talk about their relationship just because it's easier as a book club type book talk. That this is what we're gonna do rather than what we did within When the Moon Hatched, where we kind of had to go back and forth just because that's how the story flowed so well that way.
yes.
So
and it screws up like the timeline if you do it the other way.
It makes it really difficult to talk about because there's so much that's revealed that way. But so the opening of this book happens in Kabul, Afghanistan, or Kabul, Afghanistan.
It's Kabul.
Is it Kabul? Okay. In 2021, I think Teddy Hamilton says Kabul. So I'm like, what's the correct one? Anyway, this is in 2021. This is during the withdrawal from the Middle East. It's taking place in the embassy. And Nathaniel Phelan was supposed to be in the Maldives, but he decided to help out a squad member who ended up being sick in being the top security detail. So he is a sergeant in the Special Forces. He is discussing all of this with his friend Torres, who's there with him. And he is supposed to be leaving in a week when Jenkins is on the med. He kind of starts taking note of remembering Greg Newcastle's file because these are congressional aides that are coming to kind of scope out everything that's happening because in the next week after the senators are supposed to be coming for a visit to see everything. So he's like, okay, like Greg Newcastle, blah, blah, blah. He's from Senator Lauren's office, all this kind of stuff. And they're going to tour an active war zone, basically. And then Isabeau Astor steps out instead of Greg Newcastle and catches Nate completely off guard. She has a giant engagement ring on her left finger. And Nate tells her he thought she was in New York. And she says, funny, I thought you were dead. So this is our first interaction that clearly things are not great between them.
No.
They know each other. And even his commanding officer is like, is this going to be a problem? And he's like, no. Or she's like, yes. Or she says no, and he says yes. So they're both like, this is not going to work. But also he's like, I'm not going to leave you alone. So we're going to jump back to the past now. So this is that's where the book is starting out. But we're going to go back to the past and we're going to see how they got to this point to begin with. So in St. Louis in November 2011, 10 years earlier, Nate and Izzy end up seated next to each other on a plane. And Izzy hates flying. It scares the shit out of her. And she shows up and this guy is sitting in her seat. She accidentally booked a seat next to the window, which she's terrified of. She's like, I don't want to be next to the window because it terrifies me. And he's sitting in her seat and she's like, it's actually fine because he had swapped seats with somebody so they could sit with their family or whatever. So he wasn't even supposed to be sitting next to her. She kind of starts like rambling and nervous talking and talking about how she has ADHD and she didn't take her medication that day because it suppresses her appetite and it's going to make everything a problem and all this stuff. And she starts spouting off stats about the likelihood of a plane crashing within the first few minutes of takeoff and right before landing. That's when Nate starts being like, okay, I'm going to try to chill you out a little bit just by talking to you. And so she learns that Nate is heading towards basic training, and she is flying back to Syracuse after visiting with her sister Serena for Thanksgiving. And they start kind of bonding over books. He's actually reading through all of it's like a list of important books you're supposed to read before the age 30. So it's got like Grapes of Wrath and The Great Gatsby.
I fucking read all of these, and I like loved it. Yes, you are supposed to read that. I made my fucking kid read them. I thought that was normal.
There is
I don't know about before 30 though. I thought you were supposed to read it before you left high school. Like I finished Moby Dick when I was like
some of these
19.
In like middle school, elementary school.
Yeah,
I think I read Great Gatsby in elementary school.
Yeah, I made my son read The Grapes of Wrath by like before freshman year. I think the summer of freshman year. Like I think you should read all of those books because they're some kind of significance to life. Like even if they're kind of sort of made up, fictional.
There's also a lot of Rebecca Yarros' books have some sort of tie back to some sort of literature. We'll see that in Great and Precious Things as well, which is another book you haven't read yet.
I was like, another book I'm going to be reading.
Most likely. I like that book a lot too. But this one has a movie tie-in with Lady Hawk that we'll see later as well. But they kind of start bonding over that. And then she learns Nate's from Illinois, and where his family owns a small farm. And he joined the Army to pay for college because he knew with his grades, he probably wasn't going to get the best scholarships, but he still wanted to go to college. And he kind of mentions he wants to be a teacher at some point. Oh, and she notices he has a split lip, and he will not tell her what it's from. Later, we'll find out it's from his abusive father because he up and left to go to the military. And he has a strained relationship with his father that we'll see a little bit more of later on as well. But he ends up, once he joins the military, he doesn't go back home and he doesn't visit his mom. And his mom is the person that really is like his only family worth being around.
Fucking hated it. She knows why. And I was like, no, dude, like, I don't care. Like, I don't know why it bothered me. It like really fucking hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, fucking take her to a diner and don't tell your dad you're there. I don't know why it bothered me. So she knows why.
Nate starts they get delayed on the tarmac for 40 minutes, and she's panicking. So Nate starts asking her like random questions, like, did you know that pine trees sway? Like they always talk about palm trees swaying, but pine trees also sway. And he says he wants to go somewhere where the pine trees sway. That's a goal of his. I
guess if you live in Illinois where it's all fucking flat, that makes sense. You're just like, there's no fucking mountains here.
Yeah. So he ends up asking you, like, what's your favorite movie? What's your favorite time of day?
This fucking bothered me.
Yeah, her favorite movie is Titanic.
I literally fucking texted you and was like, how dare you make me read this book? And her favorite movie is the fucking Titanic. And they're on a fucking plane. And he's like, yay me. I get to fucking die when the door is floating. Bye, baby. There's not enough room. I was literally like, Katie, what the fuck is this?
That's so funny. I didn't even think about it because so what happened was I had when we're doing podcasts, I try to re-listen with the audiobook before we record. And so what I typically do is we have 2 weeks in between filming sessions. So I try to like bulk read the books that we're going to read for the podcast, and then I listen to one fun book afterwards. So this had been one of my one fun books like a few weeks ago, and then I was like, well, I don't know that I need to reread it because I'm going to skim through it for the outline, so I won't read it so close. But by the time you were texting me, I'm like, which book is this?
Yeah, when you said that, I was offended. I was like, how do you make me read this fucking book? You don't even remember the fuck. But then all I kept thinking was like the fucking Titanic where she's like, Rose is like, she's like, you don't fit, baby, you don't fit. Just die now. Let me just shove your head in the water. Die.
We learned though that her favorite time of day is sunset and his favorite time of day is sunrise, and that's going to also play into the Lady Hawk references because she's named after Isabeau, and then Navarre is Isabeau's lover and Lady Hawk, and they can only see each other at dawn and dusk, which is also part of the inspiration for their relationship here as well. They start to take off, and then the engine explodes into a ball of flame and the plane goes down. So Nate and Izzy were in an emergency row, and they help evacuate a bunch of people out, and then they have to swim across the riverbank. They do get really beat up in the plane crash, and then they end up crashing into the river. Izzy makes it across, and then she starts kind of losing consciousness, and Nate is like, oh shit. So he like gets her medical information. He finds out if she's allergic to anything, all this kind of stuff. He gets her to an ambulance, and then he lies saying that he's her husband so that he can go to the hospital with her. And he ends up signing paperwork for her to get emergency surgery because she has a ruptured spleen. All this kind of stuff happens.
This was like my favorite. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I was like, baby, you know all my things.
I love Nate.
Isn't she like allergic to like Pen-G or something?
She's allergic to penicillin and to shellfish. Yeah.
Yeah, the shit that he's like taking down his notes while he's like running her to the I don't know. It was cute.
I love
I do have to say that was a little like, oh.
Yeah, little swoony moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so she signs the paper for the emergency surgery. Serena ends up showing up because her parents, so the reason why she ended up going to have Thanksgiving with her sister was because her parents are on a cruise.
Are a piece of shit.
Yeah, they suck.
I don't know if I would rather have abusive parents or fucking neglectful parents.
They literally are just
I feel like at least if you're abusing me, I'm being touched. I'm like, you love me, you're hitting me.
Well, and they're just like super
you're
rich.
fucking like out there parents that are like, I'm on a cruise. I don't need to come home. I'm on a cruise.
No,
I just feel like
they call her in the hospital. Serena shows up.
You don't need me to get off the boat, right?
Yeah. Serena shows up and she's talking to Nate, and Nate's like, this is what happened. Like, I lied and stuff. And then Serena's like, okay. So she ends up going back because she's actually family. And then the army shows up to collect Nate. They're like, hey, it's time to go to basic. And he's like, oh, well, I want to stay and see how she's doing. And he's like, are you family or anything like that? And he's like, well, no. And he's like, okay, then you can't stay. Like, well, you need to go to basic. So he doesn't have a phone. So there's no phone number he can leave for her. And Serena's already gone. So there's like no way for him to leave contact information for her. So they're just like, at this point, he's like, this is just a person that I have kind of started to care about that I just have to ditch here. She ends up talking to her parents on the phone while she's in recovery because they're like, we figured you're fine. Like, you got to the hospital.
This pissed me off. I'm serious. This like would.
And Serena's just like, fuck them, right? Like, this sucks. And so she gets discharged and she has a concussion. So she actually doesn't remember Nate's name. And it's really bothering her. She could make out in the hospital paperwork Nathaniel. So she knew his first name was Nathaniel, but she didn't know his last name. So there was no way for her to track him down. And then 2 months later, while she's at college, she gets a package from the airline with the baggage that was under her seat. And because they had swapped seats, it's actually his baggage and underneath the tag.
Something you didn't put in the opening, which you probably should have because it was cute as fuck, was she gets off the plane with his bag.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I totally forgot to say that.
Yeah,
no,
she
does get off the plane and he notices.
But it's like 10 years fucking later. And he's like, this bitch still. Sorry, I'm like, I've kicked you like multiple times.
You so many times today. No, it literally, yeah. So she gets, I did forget to mention that. So she did get off the plane with his green army bag that he was taking.
Which is why he's like, this is going to bother me, bitch. Like, this, it's been 10 years. You got a ring on your finger and you're still carrying my fucking bag. Oh, I got to tell you right now, that's a big, like, for men in the military, that's huge. That's like having their dog tags. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I know she fucking knows what she did. But I'm just saying, that shit's a big fucking deal.
Yeah.
I can tell you right now, you got your man's, what do you call it? It's not their bag. When my dad was younger, it was a bag. But my ex, his was a huge, like, like a Foot Locker. And he would ship it to my house every time he would travel because he didn't have anywhere that he actually lived.
Gotcha.
So he would ship it to my house, and my mom would always be like, you're not even fucking together. And I was like, it's fine. It's fine.
It's whatever.
He knows this address only. This is like the one address he has probably fucking memorized.
Oh, my gosh. So, yeah, you're right. She did show up with that bag. So that is pretty significant. But underneath the tag, she can see it says N. Phelan. She is like, oh my gosh, that's his name. And then she tries to look him up, but he's like not on social media or anything like that. I don't know
if you can be.
Military you can, special ops you can't. So he did end up having a social media later on after he got a phone and all that kind of stuff, because at this point he doesn't have a phone. Later on, as he like did get technology, he did have social media and stuff because she said you were like scrubbed from the internet.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, I couldn't remember. I was like, I do remember my ex having it, but then it was more email than anything. We didn't. 3
years later on Tybee Island in Georgia, Nate is hanging out with some other single guys in his platoon. They're stationed nearby. They're about to get sent out on another deployment. And they're shooting pool and like having fun together. And then one of the guys is like, oh shit, that's a bachelorette party. This is great. And he looks over and he's like, that's Izzy. There's no fucking way. That's Isabeau. So he walks over there and the bride's talking to her and he's like, hey, like, he's trying to like flirt with her. And then she's like, not interested. And the bride's like, she's not interested, like, stop. And he's like, oh, she's interested. And then Izzy like scoffs and like turns further away from him. And then she's like, what do you know about her? And then he was like, I know she's allergic to penicillin and to shellfish and that she's scared to fly on planes and all stuff. And then she turns around, she's like, oh my God, Nate. Right before that, she was like, he just got out of a really shitty relationship. You don't want, like, she doesn't want you and you don't want her right now.
I gotta be honest, I'd be the friend that would be talking.
Yeah.
I'd be like, get away. What is wrong with you?
And this is Margot, who was her roommate that she had told Nate about when they were on the plane too.
Yeah.
So, and Margot was there when she got his bag. So they end up reconnecting, and she meets his friends Justin and Julian. That's important that we remember they have 2 J names because that's going to be an issue for later on. And an important plot device that's used throughout this entire book. So Nate has already been on 1 deployment to Afghanistan at this point, and an IED cut it short. And he's about to go on his second. She's like, what do you mean you're going on your second one? They bond over the songs because she has his iPod. His iPod.
I'm like, girl, this is only 2014.
They bond over songs.
When the iPod was still a fucking brick.
She has the iPod, and she can name every song that's on it. And then they end up having a sad goodbye, and they exchange numbers. And then next morning, Izzy calls him and said she didn't get on the plane. They eat ice cream at like 10 a.m. and he has cookies and cream ice cream, which
I was literally screaming. I was like, Katie, I can't wait till you read this book again. I was like, cookies and cream. I should have worn my fucking cookies and cream shirt.
You should have worn your Butcher and Blackburn shirt.
Cookies and cream.
The funny thing is, she's eating butter pecan too. Like, not only is like she's eating like grandma ice cream, and then he's eating ice cream that just absolutely grosses me out. Thanks to Butcher and Blackburn.
I don't think I have a single friend that can eat cookies and cream anymore.
Although last night, while I was prepping this, I was actually eating ice cream from Dairy Queen that had Oreos in it, so I was okay with it for that. So I guess I'm getting over my aversion now, but it was bad.
Did you eat the mint one though? Because if you get the
No,
I
got white.
It's not as bad because I like the DQ.
I had an Oreo
mint.
cookie confection.
See, I don't know if that's still the same thing.
Well, they stop by a bookstore and they get their favorite books. I think she chooses Outlander and he chooses, I can't remember.
I don't remember.
And they highlight it and give it to each other. And then they decide to go swimming in the ocean. And she shares that she isn't excited to go to Georgetown. And that she was dating a Covington, who they end up referring to a Covington.
You got to do it with a little bit of pizzazz.
She was dating a Covington.
I like how you put dick face. I had to read that twice. I was like, that's not his name.
That's what Nate
I
calls him.
literally was like, that's not his name. Oh my god!
And the end of this, by the we get to the end of this outline, I will be referring to him as Dick Face. I don't use his first name.
It just was funny because I was like, "That's not his name." Like Covington Dick Face. We will be going to
Covington Dick Face. He's in the senatorial race. Dick Face Covington.
I know. I said it, and I was like, I said that backwards.
Dick Face Covington. He's running for
Covington, Dick Face.
He's running for senator in the district of Washington D.C.
She said Washington. I thought it was just D.C. I don't know why. I'm not from there, so I have no fucking idea. Because we live on this coast, I'm always like Washington, Oregon, and I say Oregon correctly. Washington, Oregon, and then California. But I've gotten really lazy. I'm like Washington, Oregon, and then Cali, and my mom's like,
now.
It's just because I came from Cali and my mom would she would be like, how dare you?
They're like on Tabby Island in Georgia. And then they go to
the other day I was like, I'm going to go to Frisco. And my mom was like, I will fucking beat you. You need to get out of this other fucking states that call it other shit. So, yes.
So, but we learned about Dick Face because they were dating. He was a Covington. Her family was like, "This is amazing. This is like
amazing. There's money."
Yeah, they're like a political family. They're like part of the at this point the U.S. royalty is like what would be in the politics, right? So that's kind of where they're like, yes, go after the Covington. That's amazing. They're old money.
I was like, his name alone.
They both get into Georgetown. She only goes to Georgetown Law because he's going there. And then he ends up getting into Yale because he was waitlisted. And then he breaks up with her because he wants to go to Yale and also because there's more women over there that are old money and she's new money. So he calls him, he's like, I don't even want to know his first name. His name is Dick Face. So they refer to him as Dick Face for the rest of this. And while they're in the ocean, she gets to see his scar from the IED where he got a ruptured spleen. And he's like, yeah, we have matching scars now because she also had the ruptured spleen.
Said it and I was just like, duh.
And then they kiss in the ocean and he's like, we can't go any further because that would not be fair to either of us. Like, I'm leaving tomorrow on deployment.
No guy in the military ever says this. He's like, let me bang you. I'm leaving for 6 months. I won't see a woman or her flower for a very long time.
But what I do
That's how I got pregnant. He was like, I'm leaving tomorrow. Please, ma'am. Please, can I have another?
Can I have one more, please?
I'm sorry, I couldn't. Please don't ever watch this, Joe. I just don't watch this. I just picture Joe like, I can't fucking believe her.
Just one more time. May I have another? I'm about to go to the desert where there are no pussies.
Where it's very dry. The sun is rough on it.
It's no wetness here. So, but anyways, they he cuts it off. They decide to keep their relationship open because it's not fair to either one of them to just decide they're together anymore. And then she asked, what are we? And he said, we're possibilities. When she's in Georgetown, they start writing letters to each other over the months and they get really close. And then Nate shows up on her birthday in March. And
yes, but this one's cute because isn't this the one where she's like, it's my birthday and everybody's leaving.
Yeah, so Serena was there with her boyfriend and then she's like, hey, we're going to go to his place for the weekend. And she's like, oh, okay. Like, it's my birthday, but whatever.
I was doing something and I just remember being like, what the fuck? You don't remember it's her birthday? Like, I was so mad. That's the only reason why I remember this because I literally was like, how dare you forget her birthday?
Yep. And then she's like, okay. So she says goodbye to them and then she walks in the kitchen and Nate's standing there and he's like, happy birthday, Isabeau. And I'm just like, oh, so sweet.
It would have only been better if he was naked.
There's just so much yearning. Like, I think one of the things I love about the story is because there is so much time that they're having to spend apart because of being in the military. And I think this is part of why military romances get romanticized so much because they're really difficult. Like, for people who are in those types of relationships,
the distance makes the heart grow fonder.
Yeah.
My mom says distance makes the heart grow smaller. No.
But I think that's part of why military type romances do so well in books is because you can build up that yearning so much because they don't have that much time together, so they have to. But here's the thing:
women that fucking their men are in the military are definitely me. Okay, they don't want you around, and when you retire, they're like, ugh,
I don't think that's true for everybody.
Time.
I think it's very difficult for a lot of people to be away from their spouse that long.
That's why they marry women that don't need that. Almost every single female I know that's married to a military man, which, by the way, I was like very much in that circle. Yeah. They're all fucking independent women that are just like, yeah, he keeps showing up, man. I don't know. He came home for like a week yesterday.
I'm not made for that. I'm like, husband, I need you.
No, I'm like, hell yeah,
Go
be
fill up
gone.
my gas tank, please.
I'm like, 6 more months? All right.
But he shows up and he's like, I promised Serena I'd take you out. So they go out to drinks and she's like, I don't want to be out. I wanted to spend all of my time alone with you. And he very clearly is having a hard time with the crowds too. Like, she notices that. They have one drink and then they go home and they watch Lady Hawk.
I just realized what you wrote. I haven't read your outline yet. I just saw it and I was just like, okay, good.
So they end up watching Lady Hawk and that's when he sees like there's some parallels between the two of them. He does, and they do end up making out, and then he fingers her, but he says they can't go any further.
What the fuck, dude? Because he keeps going, oh, I could get you off, but you can't get me. I hate these fucking books, dude.
I know.
Like, you should have been naked in the fucking kitchen and been like, eat dessert off of me. Like, I can't, like, I'm just like,
off me. I think,
like, here's the whipped cream, baby.
Well, he ends up saying that Fitz died. So she's like, he says something about, oh, people aren't shooting you. And they're like talking over the cupcakes. And then he mentions that Fitz died, which was one of the guys she met when they were in Tybee. And she was like, he died? And he's like, oh yeah, there was a firefight. And then that just kind of brings down the mood.
It was this soon. But then again, it goes back and forth and you're doing this in order.
Yeah. And
I was like, it's not this soon in the story. And then I'm like, wait a minute.
I think
we're doing it like in chronological order, not.
Yeah, I think it was this soon because they had gone on their deployment and come back.
No, I meant like in the book in my head, it was farther. But then I realized that like.
Yeah, and that is kind of the first time we see, other than when we're in the present, we can see Nate is still kind of hiding pieces of himself. This is the first time where we really see Nate going, oh shit, this is why I don't talk about this stuff, because people who aren't in the military don't want to hear about this, and it's too depressing, and it's people can't grasp the reality of what we go through, and it's better to not drag them into the depths of what I deal with. So this is kind of one of the first moments where we see him make that conscious decision to be like, I'm not telling you what happens with me over here. I'm two different people. Yeah.
It's hard for people to love you when you're like, I'm not going to give you half of me.
Mm-hmm. And so he is moving to Washington State, and he's going to be basically in between deployments for the next 3 years. And part of why he's going to Washington is because he's going to start trying to do special ops training and trying to get into special ops, because his buddy Torres is wanting to get in there as well. And his buddy Torres is a legacy, and they have a good shot of both getting in. So December 2015, Izzy gets a Google alert because she set them. He was the first Google alert she ever set, because she was always terrified that he would be dead and she wouldn't know. She says a Google alert, his name pops up and it's an obituary, and she immediately freaks out. She's on a double date when this happens, and she was already not interested. Like, she couldn't remember the guy's name. She's like, why am I here? She's tried to date people throughout time. He's been with women a few times, but both of them just keep kind of coming back to each other. And she sees it's an obituary for his mom, so she ends up racing to the funeral.
This one fucking hurt me. Like, I felt like this one was like cuts. Like,
this one is rough.
This one was like worse than like any, like, you know.
This book really hit me in on the emotions a lot.
Which is crazy, because I don't think you've ever dated anybody in the military.
No, I did talk to a guy who was like in the Army in college, but he was very, very immature. Like, very inexperienced with life and immature. I was just looking at him like, are you sure you're going to go into the military? It's going to rough you up real bad.
I used to like date, these were my men. These were the ones that I was like, daddy.
Listen, I was always attracted to them. Like, when I was in college, I was always talking to them, but like, I didn't ever.
I like the fucking, you're deploying for 6 months, bye. Make sure you hit it before you quit it.
But so she races out to the funeral, and it's pouring down rain. She sees him standing up there with his dad, and they're arguing because he got the deed. So the farm was his grandfather's, which was left to his mom, and then his mom left the deed to him. And so his dad's living on the farm, and he's like, you just need to sign the deed over to me. And he's like, fuck you. I will sell this farm, and I won't tell you when it's happening. So you can live there until it's fucking gone, and I'm not going to tell you when that's happening. So he's like, I'm going to evict you whenever I fucking want. And they're kind of having this fight, and the aunts are kind of over there like, let's not do this here, you know, like, And then he ends up driving Izzy home.
Yeah, because he's only like, what, 20? They meet in 14? No, when was the plane crash?
They meet in 2011.
11, so he's...
I think he's a couple
24?
years. Yeah, something like that. He's like in his mid-20s. And so
I just feel like you're not old enough to lose your mother, like, and make fucking adult decisions. 24 is like...
No, and he already he's been gone for, I think they said 8 years that he hadn't actually seen his mom because of him going off and joining the military and doing all this kind of stuff. And I think he'd left home earlier than that. His dad was abusive, and he's like, he's lived through so much bad shit that I don't think he can really accept good things happening to him, which is really sad to see. And this is one of those examples where Izzy shows up for him, and he's like, I just need to be alone. So he drops her off at the only hotel in this tiny town in Illinois. She had the presidential suite because it was the only thing available. He drops her off, and then she's like returning her like food from her room service. And he is walking out of the elevator. She's in a bathrobe, and he's like, I need you.
I know, which I was mad when he dropped her off. I was like screaming, what the fuck are you doing? But
so he comes back.
I know he needed, like, I also know his mother died, so I also get it. But at the same time, I was like, just hug her. Just fucking something, you stupid fuck. I don't know. Everything in me wanted to hit him.
So, yeah. So he comes in, and he's like, I need you. And she's like, I know. And he's like, no, I need you. And she's like, I know. Whatever you want from me, I will give you. And
I wonder if this is like her real life story. Like, if her and her husband were like, I would fucking die. Because this story is
I don't think this is her real life story.
Like, this story even broke me, and I've been in plenty of fucking, like,
this is a hard
this
story.
One was like, even I was like, your mom died, and what the fuck? Like,
and he's really upset because this is the first time they're sleeping together, and these are the circumstances. Because he's like, he has spent so much time trying to control himself and try to not, go past the point of no return with her. And then he just gets tipped over the edge, and then they're like, okay, we're sleeping together now. He fucks her on the table, and he's like, we should be doing this on the bed. This shouldn't be happening. She's like, we can do this on the bed the next time. It's fine. You can just do this here, get what you need now. And he's like, this won't be the only time, right? And she's like, no, this won't be the only time. So that's kind of their breaking point where they're like, yeah, there's no part of us that can ever just be friends. Like, that's just not who we are. But they still have this like kind of open relationship. Like, if something happens between times we can see each other, then they give each other the space for that and the grace. So in 2017, they go to Fiji because they decided that they wanted to start going to places both of them had never been before. So they go to Fiji. Izzy almost misses her flight, and she shows up and her eyes are all red and she looks like she's been crying. And Nate's like, what's wrong? And she's like, I just broke up with someone I really liked. And then he's like, oh, you didn't have to do that. And she's like, I did, because I would rather have only 1 week with you than have an entire lifetime with him. And that's not fair to him.
I've done that. I'm not even going to lie. I've done that. I have done that, been there. It's not okay. But at least you can see it. I don't know.
She recognized it. So this is when he gifts her the Tiffany necklace.
That he fucking drops in the goddamn ocean.
Yeah, it gets dropped in the ocean. He goes and dives, and that's when he cuts his hand on the coral to go get it. And she talks about she's graduating. So she's talking about potentially moving to Washington. She's got jobs lined up to interview for in Tacoma and Seattle. And he's like, I passed Special Forces selection. I won't be like, we can't do that. And she's like, okay. And then Nate has a night. She's like, but could you consider it that there's a possibility we could, try to see where this goes? And Nate that night has a nightmare, and she wakes him up, which she knows you're not supposed to wake up someone with a PTSD nightmare. She knows that. And she just like panicked and woke him up. He flips her, pins her down, has his arm across her throat, and is like reaching for a weapon that doesn't exist. And that panics him. He's like, I could have hurt her. He like literally dives off of the deck to not talk to her about this.
So this one bothered me because this actually happened. I know better, but I wasn't awake when he did it. So like I like pushed him. Because, like, we were both sleeping and I didn't know what was happening. And I, like, was like, you stupid fuck. Like, I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah.
But when somebody's moving next to you and you're just like, oh, and you're like, so he gets on top of me and he's choking me. And then when he wakes up, like, he left prints. When he wakes up, we didn't talk to each other ever again. He never called me. He fucking left. He was my best friend's brother-in-law, so that's fun. God. So every time we have like Thanksgiving and shit, he just stares at me.
Oh, that's crazy.
Like I'm like I fucking did it to him, and I was just like, cool.
Well, it's not
cool.
It's not a one-off situation. Like this
it's not. But I wasn't upset about it, but like, damn, full like.
No, but it's hard to move on from that if you think about
talk about it.
You've been trained to kill people, and so your reaction to somebody you care about in this moment or you've been intimate with is to try to kill them in that moment, and you're like, oh shit, I can't believe I did that.
Yeah, but
it's like, how do you move past that?
I'm the kind of bitch that literally looked him in the face like years later and was like, it's okay. You were too weak to be a Marine.
Oh man.
Yeah. So, we don't talk anyways.
So
say things like that and you'll fucking definitely burn bridges. What did I say? You joined the army because you weren't man enough to be a Marine.
God.
That's what I said. You joined the army because you weren't man enough to be a Marine. Hey, it was 20 years ago.
Oh my gosh.
It was 20 years ago.
That's crazy.
I was young and dumb and mean and cutty.
So she wakes up the next morning and he's sleeping, or he's like sitting in a chair across the way, and she's like, well, what's going on? And he's like, oh, I made a list of where we can go now. So they plan the next trip to be Palau in October the next year, and they outline kind of the next destinations they're going to go to, like Borneo and the Maldives and all that kind of stuff. But he won't share who he is overseas. Like, she tries to keep kind of learning more about him, and he's like, you don't want to know me. And she's like, what if I do? And he's like, you don't. And he really shuts her down, and then she's like,
yeah, but you can't do this. You can't. Okay, this is what men don't fucking get. You can't give her a necklace. You can't fucking plan the next trip. These are fucking confusing. These are like, I understand that there's like a part of you that like wants to be normal, and there's that part of you that's shutting down for the military, but she's fucking confused because you left me, right? You just got me a necklace. I dropped the necklace and you go and fucking get the necklace. Oh, okay, you had an accidental like freak out moment, but now we're planning to go on another trip. Like, women just, our brains aren't wired that way. We're very confused. We're seeing this as like fucking love actions. Not that he doesn't love her, but you can't fucking pull back and be like, well, I can't tell you anything, because it's like,
yeah. And she's like, I want to know you. And he's like, no, you don't. And she's like, I love you. Of course I want to know you. And he says, you can't love me.
Yeah. But
you
that's what I'm
can't
saying.
love me.
Like, you can't do that to somebody.
No, I'm
this
just
book
like,
really bothered me. I'm not
this
even
is
lying.
also,
like,
again, this is another situation in which the man's like, no, that's not what you
yeah,
want.
but
And
this
it's
is
like, I
also
do
real.
want
Like,
that.
people live through this,
Yeah.
i.e. me. Like,
But
this is bullshit. Like, I've literally got a ring, and he was like, I don't love you. Why are you giving me a ring?
Yeah.
Why do you ship shit to my house but you can't remember anybody else's address? Like, fuck off.
Yeah.
Like, and then they wonder why you're confused, why you're like staring at them like, what?
Mm-hmm.
You don't love me? I don't understand.
And this is the next part. Literally, I'm like tearing up thinking about it. So I was writing this outline at 2 or 3 in the morning, and I would
have fucking been crying too.
I hit this point, and this is my 3rd time reading this book. Okay. I've physically read it, or I guess I read it on Kindle, and then I bought the physical copy. I've listened to it on audio. And now I was skimming through it in order to do this. In this section, I was actually reading the full thing because I was so drawn into it, and I was just bawling my eyes out. So this is New York, October 2018. Izzy goes to Palau and Nate doesn't show. And she waits 2 days, and then she's calling Serena, and she's like, at what point is this just like, I'm so lame for sitting here thinking he'll ever show up? And she's like, well, do you want to be enjoying the sand, or do you want to be with him? She's like, I want to be with him. And she's like, then you need to come home. Like, you're not going to feel good being
100%.
there. Yeah. And so
Not saying that it wasn't cool that you fucking went, but
yeah.
if that's not what you want to be seeing, then
No. Izzy's living in New York at this point. Nate shows up, and her parents are there helping her pack because she's going to move to DC.
Yeah.
And Nate proposes to her. He's like going on this rambling thing about how, he just buried Julian and everything's horrible, but it makes him realize, he's like, I need you to choose for me. Like, I got in and I need you to choose for me. And she's like, you're not making any sense. He's like saying a bunch of military jargon she doesn't know. And he's like, I did so good not telling you about this stuff. Of course you don't know. And she's like, you're not yourself right now. Like, what's going
but, like,
on?
he was fucking manic. Like, his eyes and everything.
He was wild.
He looked like he was on drugs, even though he wasn't.
Yeah, he just, like, he was so not him. And she's like, he's gonna wake up tomorrow and he's gonna regret ever doing this. Like, I can't. And she's like, I can't be the one to make that decision for him. I don't know enough about what's going on in your life to be able to make that decision for you. So she doesn't say no.
He doesn't tell her that he buried.
He says, I buried Julian today, is what he says when he gets there, but he doesn't say his last name. She knows he was friends with a Justin and a Julian, and so she thinks Julian is one of the other guys, not who it ends up being.
No, for some reason I thought he didn't tell her this until later, like when they were back later in the story. For some reason,
no,
I thought he asked her to marry him, and then he walked away when she said no.
No, she says, this isn't right, Nate. Like, this isn't right. And she doesn't
somehow
say,
in my head,
she never actually says no to him. And then he's like,
that's
leaves.
right. But he hears no when she doesn't. Okay.
And he's like, so you're saying no? She's like, no, I'm saying this isn't
because
right.
in the end, I remember it differently.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was bawling my eyes out because it's just like, Nate, he just lost someone so important to him. He's lost his mom already. He's like, what am I doing? Keeping myself from the one person that I know I'm in love with. He tells her that she's in love with her and all of this stuff. And she's just looking at him like, what? And
oh, you did right. Nate took it as a no. Because I thought she said no. And then now that I'm remembering the end, I'm like, she didn't say no.
Yeah, she didn't say no. So he runs off, and she's sitting there kind of like stunned. And Serena's like, do you love him? Like, would you marry him? And she's like, I would. And she's like, go get him then. Like, you need to go talk to him. So she runs out. It's pouring down rain. And Nate had, before it was her chapter, in Nate's POV, he got in the car and Torres is like, how'd it go? And he was like, she said no. And he's like, nah. And he decides then he's going to join the special forces. And Izzy runs out. She tries calling and texting him. He won't pick up the phone. He drives away. She waits for like 45 minutes out in the rain. Serena brings an umbrella for her and they wait on the porch for him to come out and come back, and he never does. So that was what they were left at 3 years before she ends up in Afghanistan.
Way fucking different when you read it. I'm just letting you guys know because you don't get any of this.
No.
Katie's trying to make it a little easier but man,
talk about.
But that was way fucking hard when you're reading it and you're like, that's why I keep fucking up because I'm like, wait, he doesn't tell her because she's like, no.
Yeah. So the hard part about talking about this is because you do have it's properly written to go back and forth in time like that, but it's so hard to talk about it as a conversation.
No, it is. You're completely correct. But my brain keeps going, wait, hold on, that happened.
Yeah. So it's more going into the timeline of their relationship. So the politicians are driven to base, and Nate catches Izzy's lemon and Chanel No. 5 scent. And he's like, damn it. Like, this is Izzy. Torres is with him, and he notes that Izzy is worse than an ex because she's his what if. They were never actually together.
Wouldn't that be fucking like, ugh.
And that was, they were possibilities. That's what Nate had always said. And then they weren't possibilities anymore all of a sudden. It's been 3 years since they last saw each other. They have that heated exchange in the car, and then she storms off. And then Major Webb comes up and he's like, hey, is this going to be a problem?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. And then he's like, also, there's 2 new stops that were added in the north to their itinerary. And Nate's like, you got to be fucking kidding me. So Izzy changed the itinerary and took Greg Newcastle's spot for some reason, and he doesn't know why.
Oh, when I found out, I was fucking dying.
Mm-hmm. And so he is like, okay, I have to figure out what this is. And then one of the other aides, I think it's Holt, comes up and he calls her Issa. And only her parents have ever called her Issa. And he's like floored that she's now going by the name that she hated her parents calling her. He's like, so this is your new personality? You're just no. She's like, no one calls me Izzy anymore. And she's like, I'm Issa now. And he's like, no. She's like, because he even says, because she can't call him his name because they have their color names to protect their identities. And she's like, well, then if I can't call you Nate, you can't call me Izzy. And he's like, okay, Isabeau. And she's like, no, call me Miss Astor. He's like, seriously.
I fucking liked it though. I was like, yes, call her by her name. Get it, boy.
So,
but I do have to say, if you were grown ass adult, Issa is a little more professional.
Yeah.
Where like Izzy's like year 12. I don't know. It's like I don't want to be like, but it crossed my mind why she would, because she's like a senator's future wife. Like I don't know. I like they're not together, but they are together.
Yeah, he's on the campaign trail,
and she needs to look a little like
Jeremy.
Hey.
Fucking Jeremy. So she's on the phone with her. She's on
my brother-in-law's name is Jeremy, and you remember he was like, "You fucking using my name on the podcast," and I was like, "I remember calling you Jeremy," but it's in
Love Hypothesis. Yes, her friend Jeremy,
and his friend was Jeremy, and I was thinking, God, why are all the Jeremys fucking retarded? So just, I love you.
So, Izzy goes to her room and she's talking to her fiance, Jeremy. And Izzy's in her internal monologue, noticing how she's like, I used to consider Nate my soulmate, and now he's here, and I don't know what to fucking do about that. Jeremy's her fiance, and he cheated on her with a staffer.
Why are all the J names so fucking ridiculous? I realized that I named my kid a J name, and now I'm like offended. I'm like, they're all fucking ridiculous. No J man has ever been a good one.
So Nate ends up interrupting their phone call, and
I would.
Do you see what I wrote in this outline? Nate interrupts their phone call where Jeremy,
tiny dick man yelling. I read it and I was like, I don't know if she wants me to say it or not, but I'm going to. You should have done a tiny dick man.
A tiny dick man and yelling at her.
He's over there like.
Well, because he's like, come on.
You like how I always like, why can't I never just be like, it was a dick? I have to be consistently and always like, let me describe said dick.
Like, it was a dick and it was 1,000 feet long.
It was touching the fucking bottom of the goddamn lake. Here I'm over here like, it was so small that even a sweet pickle was bigger than that.
Oh my God.
I always wonder like if the people that watch this are like, why does Sarah always have to describe them?
Talking about dicks.
She's always talking about dicks.
But Izzy is like, so Jeremy's like, come on, Issa, like, get over it. It's been enough time, like, blah, blah, blah. And she's just like, I haven't made a decision on if we're going to stay together or not. Like this, fuck off.
You just fucking cheated on me with a staffer, which makes it worse because then you're never going to be able to trust any staffer.
Nope. And all of his office knew about it and didn't tell her.
Well, no, why would they?
Yeah, it's politics. This is what happens, right?
No, bitch, you're supposed to stay in your lane.
Yeah, so Izzy gets interrupted and she hangs up, and then she's like, you abandoned me, Nate. Like, why do you think you have any right to me at all? She's like, your existence was just erased from the world. I went to Palau, I went to Peru, and then I went to Borneo, and then by the next year I just gave up on hoping that you'd be there. So this last year was the last one that she actually skipped. And
I gotta tell you, my heart's hurting just fucking reading this. I mean, I know we read the story, but like, I forgot that she was like, and I just kept showing up and you weren't fucking there. I don't know why my brain's like,
and then
why today it's like, we didn't get no sleep.
Well, I was like last night, I was like, I'm so sad right now. And
I think it's just different when it's written out like in like a solid timeline
Yeah.
versus like where it's like the back and forth, because now you're like, oh my God.
It's true. And it breaks my heart to watch Nate just to get so broken like that. And then, so Izzy finds out, he's like, well, I was going to go to the Maldives next week. And she's like, that's an October thing. So you just decided you were going to go without me and you rescheduled your trip to August instead. And that was the year they were supposed to go to the Maldives. So she's like, cool. I'm glad this is where we're at. And
that's because he's trying to fucking like.
he's trying to move on.
Yes.
And Nate gets her to admit that why she came on the trip, and it was because her sister Serena, who is a photojournalist for the Times, is still in Afghanistan, even after they told all of them Americans to move
because you
out.
are more likely to die as a journalist than you are in the fucking military.
Yeah, seriously.
So everything in me was dying. I was like, her only fucking sister that loves her, like the only person in the world other than Nate who's fucking saying he doesn't love her.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, what is wrong with these people?
And she had gone on this whole rant about like, you were just erased from existence. I had no way to contact you. I didn't know if you were alive or dead, and you were just gone. And then he drops the bomb of, I never changed my next of kin. You would have known. He's like, no news is good news. And she's like, are you serious? And he's like, do you want me to change it? And she's like, no. Like
Mine didn't change it either.
Yeah.
But I'm sure he did now. I'm sure he has. But when we were together for like 5 years.
Yeah.
Which fucking killed me, I'm not going to lie. I never got a call, thank God, but I knew because one day he called me and was like, should I change it or are you still okay with it? And I had no idea I ever was.
Oh my gosh.
So when you're like, what?
Could you imagine if like they showed up?
If they would have showed up, dude, I'd have fucking stabbed him.
Oh my
I would
God.
have CPR'd his ass, brought him back to life, mummified him, and then back to death again.
Oh my
No,
God.
I don't know what I would have done. Fucking bastard. Like, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, it's a good thing you never fucking showed up to my door.
Oh my God. I can't imagine.
It's things that you don't like. I don't know.
I guess it's things that you don't want to think about, but that are possibilities for a lot of people.
Yeah, but the other thing that was crazy about, like, we had lost so many people in the Iraq war when I was a kid that, like, it didn't, I get when I was a kid, when I was a teenager, when I was like 18, 19, that like after a while you just started like, just expect it. Like you'd walk down in the college, when you'd walk down the hallway, they had them all lined up and you'd be like, oh, I graduated. Oh, hey, I was wondering what happened to that one. Like, yeah. Wasn't fucking great at all.
And that's like Rebecca Yarros talks about, because I think her husband was in the military for I think he was an officer. So he did the 20-year service.
You have to, because if you go into officer school, which I kept trying to talk my son into doing, he was like, I don't want to be in the military for 20 years.
Yeah. So
it's an automatic because they pay for you to go to school.
Yeah. I think he did 20 years as an officer. And so she was like, we spent a lot of years just burying friends, like just funeral after funeral. So
yeah,
I can't imagine. And it's like once you finally get out, because I don't know if he extended beyond the 20 years, because there's plenty of them that do that too. They get past their 20 years and they're like, yep,
because they don't know anything other than what are you going to do? Because you're only like, what, 38?
Yeah.
At 20 years? Like, you're a baby?
Yeah.
Like,
you haven't had any. Basically, you turned 18
you've been
and then
told what the fuck to do your whole for 20 years.
At that point, you've been out of civilian life longer than you've been in civilian life. So like you'd have no idea how to exist in society, right? So it's just crazy. I mean, props to everyone who's in the military. I have a lot of military service members who, are incredible people and have dealt with a lot of horrible things because of it, but have also protected our country. So there's a lot of mixed feelings about the military.
I think it's cool, and I think if you could do the officer program, which is pretty fucking awesome, because you go in, you test into it, and then you go in, and then you go to school, and then they put you in. So everything is paid for, and then they put you into the officer program. So I think you're like almost 24 or 25 when you get into the actual program of being an officer, because you have to go through all their schooling first, and you have to get your bachelor's first. So does that put you at like 21? Yeah. So maybe you have to get your master's. It's a pretty high level that you have to get into before they put you into the program, but they pay for everything. Yeah. This is why I was like, do it, son, do it.
Yeah. So there's a series.
I just loved how you were like, I'm just going to keep leaning. I'm not going to get up. I'm just going to keep leaning.
Well, there's a series, one of Rebecca Yarros' series she wrote. The first one is Full Measures. It's a Flight and Glory series. And then the first one, her dad is in the military and he dies. And she is the one who has to answer the door for the guys that show up to tell them. And then she's like, I'm never going to marry, or I'm never going to be with someone who's in the military because I can never go through this again. And she watched her mom like turn into a shell of a human and everything. And then she ends up with this guy who didn't tell her he was in the military and he's going to be an officer. So there's like no way out immediately. So I have learned honestly so much about the military through her books, which I think is a testament to the importance of reading books, even if they are romances. That you can learn a lot of information and stuff about this. And it also gets to the heart of what a real human experience is of dealing with having relationships with the people in the military. So anyways, the first day of tours happens and they're going to Jalalabad.
Say it again.
Huh? Jalalabad? What?
I was just waiting.
You don't like that?
I was going to say, I was waiting for you to say it, and then you said it, and I was talking while you said it.
Oh.
So I was like, come on, say it. See how badly you tortured that word.
They say J-bad for a lot of the time.
That's because that's a hard, even I'm like, ugh.
Jalalabad.
Jalalabad.
So Nate tries to convince Izzy to leave yet again, and she's like, I'm not leaving. I don't know how many times to tell you this. They get in a Black Hawk, and Izzy realizes her headphones won't fit over her helmet. First of all, she's throwing a fit about having to wear a Kevlar vest and a helmet. And he's like, you're in an active war zone. I don't care.
It was pissing me off. I wanted to fucking hit her. I was like, you don't care if you don't look pretty in your little outfit.
He's like, I swear to God, Isabel, you will not leave the active war zone. Listen to me as your security detail about being in an active war zone. But she can't put her headphones on over, and she needs music in order to not be terrified on flights. So he slips his AirPods in, and then he starts playing music for her. And he plays Northern Downpour, which is both of their favorite songs, and it calms her. And then she spends the day meeting with leadership while he stands guard. And then that night, Nate follows her into her room, and she's happy that he will help find Serena because he had mentioned, to her staffer, hey, why don't you pull all of the images that are taken by any photojournalist in the last however many days. That way they can try to pinpoint where she's at. She's like super happy about that. And then he says, yeah, I want you home as fast as fucking possible. And I bet he does too. And like motions toward the ring. And then he walks out and she's like, right.
You didn't say the fucking Jeremy part.
Fuck Jeremy.
It's just
fucking Jeremy.
Fucking Jeremy. My brother-in-law's like, fuck you too.
So Nate finds out his name is Jeremy when he calls, and it's like she's juggling a bunch of stuff and it's on her phone and it slips off, and then he goes to pick it up. Holt tries to make a move on her, one of Senator Lauren's staffers, and he's like, if you ever need to talk about anything, like, I'm here for you. And Nate's like, he's making a fucking move on you.
Doesn't she already have the ring off though?
No, she still has the ring on, but he's like, only like snakes like that will try to get with a woman at their lowest. He doesn't know that she was cheated on yet. He just knows that he's like, Jeremy seems to be a piece of shit. That's all he really knows. But he's like, only guys like that will go after women they view her at their lowest. And that's like makes him a shithead. So that night, Izzy has a nightmare, and Nate hears her screaming and comes running. And she's like on the ground, like had kind of fallen out of bed, sweating. He like picks her up in his arms and like cradles her and takes her to the couch. And then they have a conversation about how they just have to ignore everything that's happened to them in order to just get through the next like 9 days or whatever it's going to be. It's the longest amount of time
everything in me is like
together.
dying. I'm like, wasn't he? No, leave that alone.
And then Nate is able to identify Serena's location of Mazar-i-Sharif by a picture in an article of hers that shows the Blue Mosque. I think it's the Shrine of Ali or something like that.
Was it the problem? Oh, son of a bitch. Wasn't the problem her interpreter couldn't get out or something? And
yeah,
so
she isn't willing to leave until Taj, her interpreter, gets his visa approved because like obviously the interpreters are... Any of the Afghani forces and anyone who helped the U.S. military are going to just be the first targets of the Taliban,
they
right?
Get beheaded.
So
just
they
literally chop their heads off.
Well, at one point later on, when they're talking about trying to get Serena out, when he's talking to like the other guys on his squad, they're like, we don't want her to become YouTube fodder for the Taliban. And it's just like,
well, I was also thinking, I think it was like the early 2000s. I'm not sure if you're old enough to remember, but one of the journalists was like one of the first journalists out there from the Americans that they just beheaded him.
Mm-hmm.
And they did it like on national television to like prove a fucking point.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, I'm blanking that. I can't even remember my own name, but I'm blanking that person's name so hard.
I don't remember the name, but
It's
I do
pissing
remember
me
hearing
off,
about it.
Because I do remember, like, I remembered it, and then all of a sudden I'm like, I can't remember my own name.
Yeah, I was pretty young when a lot of this was happening because the pullout was happening when I was in high school. So like
Yeah,
a lot of
I was grown. I already had children when the pullout was happening.
so a lot of it was happened when I was younger, but I remember it. I mean, it was constantly on the news. I mean, it was the war that was never ending, right? It just kept going.
Yeah,
so.
I think the worst part was because we graduated when it happened. It's kind of like things that are happening now, and like are like, because all of the kids are graduating right now, it's like traumatizing. Like, it's like I literally got out of this wars like and made it, and then now
my
our
kids
children are going into it. It's fucking crazy to think like that we've back into the same fucking war too. It's not even like, that's why it's a never ending war, I guess. But
yeah. So the itinerary gets changed. And Nate doesn't know this at the time, but he and Izzy are arguing about how they're going to go to Kandahar. And he's like, you are not going. I am going. But it's not safe there. Like, the Taliban is right there.
The whole fucking thing isn't safe. And she just keeps going, let me put myself in harm's way.
Exactly. And he's like, I have feelers out to try to find your sister. And he's like, did you tell her I'm here? And he's like, no, I didn't say, hey, Taliban, there's a congressional aide here from the U.S. Would you like to come kill her? And she's like, that's not like, she's basically like, stop being dramatic. You know, he's like, I'm not going to put you at risk like that. Are you crazy?
I feel like if anybody's being dramatic, she is. Like, she's almost got like a death wish because she's like, it's fine.
Yeah.
I don't need a helmet. Kevlar vest. Oh my God.
Well,
it doesn't match my shoes.
Well, she even admits later to Nate, he's like, why is this? And it's after she takes her ring off. She's like, Serena's the only one who's never abandoned me.
I told you.
And that hits him hard because it's true. Her parents have abandoned her when she was in a fucking plane crash. She didn't show up.
Surgery. She was put under the knife and they didn't fucking show up. It wasn't even just the crash. Like, I don't know. It bothered me.
Dickface left her for a school. Nate abandoned her after proposing to her. And so Serena's the only one that's ever actually been there for her all the time. So she's like, I'm not giving up on finding her. But they're arguing about it, and he's like, I'm not taking you to Kandahar. And then one of the other guys shows up and says, hey, the itinerary's changed. We're going to Kandahar. And he's like, you went behind my back. And she's like, yep, I did. And so they end up flying to Mez to meet the stranded Americans. And on the plane, Izzy tells him to choose the music because she doesn't want to. And then he puts in Panic at the Disco. This is gospel. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
Well, she
if you
fucking
love
deserves
me,
it.
let me go.
I was going to say, she fucking deserved it.
All of the Panic at the Disco songs, I was just like, come on.
I love
like,
Panic
I'm
at the Disco.
Dying. So good. And just playing This Is Gospel is just like, Nate's like, and she's looking at him like, are you fucking kidding me? This is the song you play? And Nate's like, it was more of a reminder for me that I have to let you go. Like,
what was the one I was thinking? It was like 3 doors down. What the fuck's that song? Where like he does the one where, dude, this is what I get for like trying to have any thought. Like, literally, as soon as I started to say it, it was like, it was like a flight just like
disappeared.
The one where it's like, it's not gonna come to me. Everything started making noise. My brain was like, ADD squirrel. I want to say it's like 100. No, it's not 100 years. God damn it. It's going to bug me. I'm pretty sure it's 3 doors down.
Okay.
Whether I can remember the song before this podcast ends will be a whole different
We'll
story.
find out. I'm surprised you haven't commented on her ADHD yet, though.
Because I have it so bad, I didn't want to bring it up. I can just picture every time I'm like, nope, just ignore it.
Just ignore it. Her ADHD medication gets mentioned a lot.
No, I thought about it in the beginning, and I was like, no, because if you bring it up, then Katie's going to be like, let's attack you. Show the world.
Rawr. So at the airport, Nate gives Izzy a 10-minute warning, and Izzy tells him she's not leaving without her sister.
5.
He's like, we're leaving in 10 minutes.
5 minutes. We're down to 4 minutes.
Pretty much.
I'm sorry. That's just what I think of when I'm talking to a 5-year-old. Like, it's like, I gave you a 10-minute warning.
And he's like, she says, I'm not leaving without my sister.
I mean, she kind of is acting like a 5-year-old, though, if you think about it.
Right. But then
I don't want to leave without my toys.
But then she wonders out loud to him, I wonder if I had ever just asked someone to come home if they would have. And he's like, she never actually asked me outright to come home. Like she never asked me to stay outright. She just was always like wishing I would stay, but she never said, please stay for me or anything like that.
Because she's a female.
But also he never gave her the opportunity to.
This is also like when she's like, I'm so mad at you. I'm going to storm out. Follow me. But I'm not going to tell you to follow me. I don't know. It's just such a girl thing to fucking do. I say this from years of...
from years of running.
Years
running
of
around and turning around. Why would you follow me?
I fucking hate you. This is why I didn't bring up the ADD thing. Because I'm like, fuck you guys. This is worse than therapy.
So that's kind of like another like punch to the gut. And he's like, she never did ask me to stay, but she's like, I would have. I wanted you to stay. I just never asked you. You just didn't do it.
Yeah,
then,
because he's a fucking mind reader. Like, what the fuck?
Well, she's like,
I mean, now that I'm a grown-ass adult, I can make that comment. But when I was in my 20s, the emotions were way bigger than the fucking, like...
She's like, I've spent the last 10 years worrying that you were dead somewhere. And then I only would catch glimpses of you, and that would give me some hope. But then, he was the first Google alert she had. And then Serena arrives, and Izzy tries to convince her to stay, but Serena refuses because Taj hasn't gotten his visa yet. And she's like, okay, well, I'll try to expedite it, And then she says, can you promise me something? And she's like, what do you want me to promise? And she was like, don't marry Jeremy. She's like, I see how you look at Jeremy, and I see how you look at Nate. You don't love Jeremy.
No, but Jeremy's a name, right?
Mm-hmm.
Comes with old money.
And then she makes a comment about how he's the reason you're even in Washington anyways. And Nate overhears that and is like, what? Because she ended up deciding to go into, she never wanted to go into politics.
No, that was like a huge thing.
Law school wasn't even what she wanted to do in the first place. And so, but she wanted to help people. That was what her goal was. And Nate had always kind of told her, yeah, you can absolutely help people. You should go where you can help people. And so Senator Lauren, when she was running on the idea of getting the U.S. troops out of Afghanistan, and had a bill that she was trying to pass to get them out. And that's why she ended up joining her campaign, was because specifically of that bill that never passed. But
just so she could pull Nate out without
she could
telling
get Nate
him.
out.
Because God forbid we use our big girl words.
Mm-hmm. And then
sorry,
Jeremy. So they end up going back to the embassy. They make it out, and Jeremy shows up, and that's when he finds out Jeremy Covington, because it says Covington on his badge. He was like, "You're marrying Dickface," is what he says to her. There's like a huge argument that she has with Jeremy where he's like, "We talked about having an open relationship." She's like, "You talked about it. I never said I was fine with that. You just decided to go sleep with somebody." And he's like, "Well, women." And she's like, women?
Could never have an open relationship for like too many reasons.
Me either. And then Jeremy's like, there's always been 3 of us in this relationship. It was never me and you. There was always somebody else there. And she was like,
it was Nate, Dickface.
And she's like,
I mean, he's not wrong.
Yeah.
Because didn't she have like his picture on the fucking refrigerator?
For the first year of their relationship, his picture was on the refrigerator.
I'm sorry, but...
And it's true. She's been in love with him this whole time.
It would be real fucking hard to like...
But even later, Nate's like, why would you ever what made you say yes to him? And she's like, he was there.
I was going to say, because like somebody wanted to marry you, even though they knew you were fucking secretly stepping out on them. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Does that count as cheating? If you're like mentally like, I'm fucking Nate.
It does count as cheating.
I'm fucking Nate while you're fucking me.
But so Jeremy says, this is perfect. You're in love with him. So we'll just have it. We'll just be married. It'll look great for our careers. And then you can just have Nate, and I'll have whoever I want. And I'll just be have more discretion.
I mean, this is how politics
and
works.
She's like, no.
I mean, he's not wrong. This is how this is how the Clintons did it. Come on, give me a break.
But she's like, you're missing the part where I don't want you at all. And so she gives him the ring back, and he storms off. And then my last line in there is, fuck off, Dickface.
You gotta say fuck off, Dickface.
My last line in this is fuck off, Dickface. Because he ends up, she asks
this one
the guy.
Didn't have as many exclamation points as your last outline.
This was my last outline that I did.
This one needed like 15 exclamation points, and you needed it in all caps. Fuck off, Dickface.
To be fair,
100% is what she needed.
100%. This was my last outline I did. I did 3 outlines in a row I think I started at 6 and I didn't end until 4:20 in the morning. So
these outlines couldn't take you that long.
Okay, so I told you my issue is that
okay. I was like,
I'm skimming 300 to 400 page books to try to get the basics of it, right? Not too bad. It takes a couple hours usually. My problem was I'm going, oh my gosh. And then I'd read an entire chapter and I was like, Katie, stop doing that.
Mine would be like chapter 1, dick face. Chapter 2, got fucked. Chapter 3, the plane took off. Like you would hate my fucking outline. It would literally just be like, but it would give me like an idea of where we were in the book. Like
my point is that I like to have usually I can remember the big story plot. I can't remember the little details that I want to talk about. So I'm like,
no, I totally get it.
Detail.
That's why I was like, I guess I'd figure it out in the middle.
In Kandahar, the girls' chess team, which was kind of the whole point of why Izzy had been working on, that Greg Newcastle had taken credit for, was she was working to get this girls' chess team out of southern Afghanistan. They end up flying to Kandahar because Senator Lauren's office calls and is like, they're not willing to leave. They don't trust the Afghani military. So they're at the Kandahar airport and the only person they'll trust is Izzy because they've talked to her. Izzy's arguing with Nate about dick face and specifically trying to show off her left hand because she's taken off the ring and she's like drumming her hand. She's like drinking water with her left hand.
I know,
she's
but
like throwing her hand out in the air.
Again, not being an adult, using your big girl words. Put on your big girl panties and say the words.
And they're arguing and they're in this right when the girls' chess team starts walking out is when he looks down at her hand and goes, she's not wearing her ring. And then the runway explodes. So
because rather than using your big girl words, it just fucking irritates me. I appreciate this book. I really liked it. But there's so many things that I was like, what the fuck? I just want to shake it.
I also, though, I don't know if I would want to use my big girl words after I spent a lot of my relationship with him trying to be upfront and using my big girl words and he still rejected me.
Did they, though?
She did in Fiji. She was like, I'm telling you, I'm in love with you. I want to know every part of you. And then he was like, no. You don't want me. I'm too complicated. And then she spent like so many years being like, I want you. I want this. And then
I don't know if she ever did that after that. After she said it, it doesn't
because
ever
they
like
didn't see
fully
each other again
explain that she ever
Fiji,
tried again.
Well, Fiji was the last time they saw each other because he skipped Palau.
He gave you a fucking necklace. He dug down to get said necklace. He told you he loved you in uncertain fucking terms.
She knows he loves her, but he's not willing to
love
her
and you
in
need
the
to
way
fucking
that she
accept
needs.
what you're getting. You either do or don't.
At some point,
you either fucking walk away or don't fucking walk away.
But she told him at some point, you have to acknowledge that we can't keep doing this. Like I can't
that's why
live
he
with
fucking walked away.
He does show her all the time, but
I'm like totally okay with that. You don't have to tell me you love me. Just fucking show me you do.
The problem is
actions are way better than fucking words.
But she tells him like there's going to be a point where we can't live like this anymore, and we're not going to be okay with having half of a life together, like that. We're just waiting around for each other all the time. And so at some point you either have to let me in or you have to let me go. Like that's kind of the options you have. So anyways.
I think I'm broken, Katie. I think either these men have broken me or I've just accepted that that's okay. Because I could totally do it. Especially if they sent me home like half their paycheck and I still was like, I'd be, hell yeah. Girl, they sent me home half their paycheck. They could do whatever the fuck they wanted. You giving me your I'd be like, peace out. You go bang whatever girl you want.
Oh my God, I would not be like that. But
you also have I have years, decades on you. My body's broken.
You've also been
men are emotionally distraught.
Yeah, I haven't had the relationships you've had, so that's.
And you also didn't date military boys that were. That's why I was like, I don't want to read this book. I was like fighting it.
I'm gonna be like, do you want to read another Rebecca Yarros contemporary?
Not if they're all military.
They are all military. Yeah, the runway explodes. It gets Nate tackles her and like protects her with his body and everything, and then she's in shock and she's not able to. She's starting to have a panic attack, and he starts asking her,
what the fuck would happen to you if you literally
fire
is exploding behind you.
And she starts having a panic attack. He starts asking her weird questions, which is how he helped her on the plane. And then,
what's your favorite movie? The Titanic.
Well, and then everybody,
still fucking bothers me.
Well, and then everybody, everything's kind of calmed down. They're trying to secure everything, and they're Apaches to come in and everything to rescue them and stuff. So they secure the airport, and so she's hanging out with Nate and his friends. And Nate, so this is one thing, Nate hands her some food, and he's like, your ADHD medication is going to be wearing off soon. You're going to be hungry. And she's like, you remember that? Like,
again,
of course he fucking remembers
that. Loves you just because the two of you guys are idiots.
Izzy starts telling stories about Nate, and it's like, oh, I know where he got the cut on his hand. I know his favorite movies. I know all of these kinds of small things about him that she's sharing. I know he grew up on a farm in Illinois, and Nate's kind of she remembers all this kind of stuff about me, and she's remembering this is who Nate was before I lost before he kind of hardened
What do you
his
not
shell.
want to be? My father.
Yeah. He doesn't want to be his father. And Nate ends up answering. He takes a walkie-talkie and he says Navarre, which is his call sign. And that's Isabeau's lover and Lady Hawk. So she's like, so even when he went to the special forces, when it felt like he abandoned me, he never actually did.
Because I'm going to shut the fuck up about it.
So-
But I'm just saying actions are way bigger than words.
Yeah, they end up getting rescued and they get the girls out and they get back to the embassy to find out that pretty much everyone's back in the U.S. The senators are like, it's not safe there. Everyone go home. So it's just her left.
They've been saying that since what? I got there.
And she's not willing to go home yet. And Nate agrees to give her 24 hours to wait for Serena. But after that, he's like, I don't care if you're kicking and screaming. I'm throwing you over my shoulder and you're going on that plane. You're going home. And this is when we get...
I'm like, yes, Daddy. Throw me over your shoulder.
This is when we kind of get more of them discussing everything that happened. And she's like, I only got engaged to him because he was there. Dickface was there. He was comfortable. I didn't have to wait around and hope that he wasn't going to die. He was just there. And I didn't, it was simple. And she explains that he cheated on her. And then it was 6 weeks later and she still, like, she kicked him out of her bed and then didn't even, she's like, I'm not even reacting to this. Like, I'm not upset about the fact that he cheated on me. Like, I genuinely don't care that he slept with someone else other than the fact that I'm humiliated. Like, I don't have feelings about the fact that he cheated with somebody else. And then, but Nate's distraught over the fact that she would say yes to someone else because he's like, I went and poured my heart out to you and you told me no. And then
I forgot about this next part.
Yeah. So then
because there's a part where he's naked and she sees it taped and she just thought it was to keep the tags from jingling.
So she leaned against it was when she had her nightmare. He had just a soft cotton shirt on.
That's
she
why I
leaned
was
against
laughing
his
earlier
chest.
because I was like, don't say it.
So yeah, so he wears dog tags around his neck, and she's like, she remembers. She says that's weird that he would wear dog tags because they can't even have their real names on their uniforms right now. So it's weird that he would wear dog tags, and then it's wrapped in black tape. And this is the point where he's like, you said yes to somebody else after, and I poured my heart out to you. I actually loved you. And he takes the dog tag off and he slices open the tape, and there's the ring that he proposed with.
Yeah.
And he was like, you think I forgot about you? I took you everywhere with me every single day you were with me.
Again, go back to Stars. The actions speak louder than words, girls.
And this is where we get why Nate was so torn up about Julian's death, was not only because he buried him and he was one of his best friends, but it was also because he feels responsible for his death. So they were on a training mission. It was right before they did like their kind of like torture sequence where they had to prove that they could make it if they were tortured. But right before that, Julian got bit by a snake
that was going to bite Nate.
And
he pushed Nate out of the way and got bit by it.
He got bit, and then instead of telling the people so he could get medical attention and get antivenin, he said, no, I want to get through the next training thing. And then they went into the torture sequences, and then they were all sitting there like they're lying. He's not dead. Like, this is just a part of the torture sequence, and he actually died from the snake bite.
I mean, I'd agreed with them. I'd have done the same thought. Like,
yeah. So Izzy's like, this isn't, she's like, that's not your fault. Like, Julian made a decision.
I mean,
and
I kind of agree with Nate. I think I would think it was my fault too. Like,
I mean, yeah, he should have said something, but also he's like, I wasn't going to ruin it. That was what,
because wasn't Julian the one that was like he was like the second or third?
Yeah, his dad was Delta, and he was like, I'm not going to ruin the one thing he's wanted since he went into the military. Since before he went into the military, this has always been his goal. I'm not going to ruin his chance at this. So it was a tough decision, and it was the wrong one, obviously. And then Izzy's like, I ran after you. And he's like, no, you didn't. And she's like, I did. I waited in the rain hoping you would come back, and you never did. They get interrupted again. And then that is when they find out that Mez is falling at this point. So they get a phone call. Nate had managed to get a phone to Serena, and Taj's visa got approved and was on the way. Part of that approval process came from Izzy was on the phone really frustrated. And Nate said, well, I can get you a letter of recommendation, because that was the only thing we were missing. And he ended up getting it all the way up to the general to get a letter of rec to get Taj out.
Which wouldn't be fucking hard if you were Nate.
No, because at this point, because Izzy doesn't know how far up in the military he actually is. So he's sergeant first class, and he was like, yep, go tell Major Green that we're going to send this up and he needs to go to the general.
Yeah.
So he pulls some strings. He's like, I'll get it in 2 hours to you. They get to talk to Serena on the phone. And then the next day is when Izzy has to go. So she wakes up and she walks out and she sees the guy that's like standing guard. And she's like, well, Nate would be awake. It's 4 o'clock in the morning. And he looks at her and he's like, you know what? Fuck it. And he he's like, don't tell him I was the one who let you in.
Which
and
is
he cards
fucking
him in.
hilarious because, like, come on, dude. Who else let him in? Let her in.
And so she goes in there and she basically is like, I never stopped loving you. I've held on to you all this time. And she has the ring.
Really? You're not going to read it the way you wrote it? They fuck multiple times. Love declarations. I just like, come on, Katie, you got to read it the way you wrote it. That was too good.
So she comes in and says that she
I know
never stopped
exactly.
loving
Like,
you.
it was great because I was like, I know exactly where this is. Like, they're in the shower and they're just like, all wet and slippery.
Yeah, so
and Katie's over here, like, writes it all politely. They fuck multiple times.
So she comes in and she's like, I've never stopped loving you. She has the ring in her hand. He had just come out of the shower and she's like, you're in a towel. And he's like, that is the natural progression of a shower. Shower, towel, clothes. And so he says he loves her too. They end up sleeping together on the bed. Then they get up and then they have sex in the shower multiple times. And then they get interrupted.
Which I was like, you finally did it on the bed?
Well, they literally
500 years later.
Well, they did it on the bed in Fiji too. But they were definitely like, they were just, it was actually
90% of the story of them fucking is not on page. Don't be lying.
No, but the thing is too, this is a testament to where I think smut is character driven plot and it moves the relationship forward because this is actually really sweet smut. Like they're obviously pleasuring each other, but this is a moment where they finally both give into it. And they're both literally like almost every other sentence they say is I love you. And I think it was just really sweet to finally get that after all of the hard, like.
Yeah, I don't think I like was like, ew, during this one.
No, it was actually like really sweet. So they get interrupted again because shocker.
They're in a war zone.
They're in a war zone and the Taliban are at the gates. So they need to go. Nate and his team get reassigned. And he's like, you're going to have this person's going to be leading you. You need to get on that plane. You need to promise me you'll get on the plane. He's like, whether or not Serena's there, I need you on that plane. I need you home and I need you safe. And she's like, I want you to come home too. And he's like, I will come home to you. I promise. She gets on the plane and they're about to take off and then the plane stops. And then Serena and Taj get put on the plane. Turns out and she's kind of all bloodied up. And so is Taj. They'd gotten beat up at a couple checkpoints. And it turns out that Nate and his entire team were the ones who actually personally rescued them and got them out. They go home, and then the next month in September 2021, we're in Fort Bragg, and Nate goes to the Army psychologist, and he's like, it's finally time. And he's talking to Torres before he goes in there, and Torres is like, sure you want to do this? And he's like, yep. And that's when he says,
yes, because he was talking to Torres in the car when he was like, she said no. Mm-hmm. And I don't think anybody catches this. I caught it, but I was like, just so fucking disturbed. And I didn't know when we were going to discuss it, but I just see that you actually put it in here because I was like, well, I didn't want to discuss it early.
Yeah, so we actually, this is when you find out because he never says Julian. They say Torres and he says Julian, but he never says Julian Torres ever in the beginning of this book. This gets revealed later because he has two J-name friends, Justin and Julian. She doesn't know which one is Torres and which one is the other one. And she assumes that it was the other guy and not Torres. So we get her POV saying it was the other guy that died, but he's been hallucinating his best friend for the last 3 years. So Julian.
Somehow I caught that through the whole book.
Oh, I didn't catch that. Julian, he just always
But
Torres
I caught
was there.
it also because I also know many military guys that do this.
Yeah.
So maybe it didn't like shock me.
So, but him hallucinating his best friend is enough to have him medically discharged at this point. So he leaves the Army.
You shouldn't be fucking talking to somebody that's not there. I mean, don't get me wrong, dude. If my best friend died, I've already told her. I was like, I would get an AI version of you that talks back to me. Like, fuck off. Like, I would make myself not look creepy, but I would still, fuck off.
So,
I would still send her messages like every goddamn day. Like, no.
I want to point out too that since she left Afghanistan, she's been wearing Nate's ring on her right hand. So she does have Nate's ring. That
I don't remember.
Mm-hmm. She has it on
Look,
her
and
hand.
I can fucking remember that he fucking hallucinates his best friend for 3 years.
It's a kind of major plot point, but it's a minor detail, I guess, that she's been wearing his ring. In October, Izzy gets on the plane to go to the Maldives like they had planned originally. And she's like, I don't know if Nate's going to be there because he might be, in, wherever in the world, but I know he'd want me to go on this trip. So I'm going to go, and I know one day we'll find our shot. Like, it's okay. Like, getting ready to take off, and then Nate appears, and it turns out both of them have quit their jobs because neither of them wanted to do that anymore, and they decide it's finally time to take their shot. And then they go to the Maldives. And then the epilogue is 5 years later. They've moved to Maine, which is where the pine trees sway.
Because they don't sway anywhere else.
And Nate is a teacher, and Izzy is happy doing what she loves, where she's doing something in law where she can help people. So we get kind of this nice little happy ending. I'm assuming they're married at this point. It doesn't say.
No, because Katie never gets an on-page wedding. Plus, I don't know. Maybe he's too fucked up. He's his fucking best friend. Like, who's gonna walk down? Who's gonna be at the fucking end of the aisle? He's gonna have like nothing there, but he's gonna be like, my boy's gonna hand me my rings.
I choose to believe that they are married at this point.
I have too many fucked up theories.
This book, it's so good. It's so emotionally draining. And I actually can't wait to see it on screen. I think it's gonna just be like heart-wrenching to watch it play out.
I'm not watching this. I don't give a fuck how much money you pay me. It's not being watched.
Oh, gosh. Well, I will definitely be watching
like Saving Private Ryan. I never watched that either. There's just too many fucking... I don't like war movies.
Yeah,
they're just too,
fair.
like...
I like things that break my
heart. They're too fucking, like, real.
I either want just a fun time book where I know it's just, like, goofy and their stakes are really low, or I want something to just, like, rip my heart out and stomp on it.
You and I are totally different. I'm over here, like, I just finished a couple murder mysteries, and right now I'm, like, reading, like, Dungeon Crawl Carl series.
Oh, yeah.
No, I'm good. I'd rather some aliens kidnap me and I have to go through dungeons than fucking... No, I don't like sappy shit. I just finished one. It was a serial killer, and that was fucking great. I'm like, yes.
Yeah, that's not me. I'm like, I just want to just have my emotions just completely ripped out of me.
Yeah, that's me, like, yes. She got sewed to the bed, and her eyes were stitched sewed.
That's totally different than me.
Just like, I name my books to Zyra, and she's like, that's a little too dark. And I'm like, oh, I thought we were the same. I thought our souls were black.
Not quite. All right. Well, what would you rate in the likely event?
I think I rated this one a 4.
Yeah, it's an absolute 5 for me.
And you would just, somebody's got to take it down a notch.
I was telling you too that, so we've talked about it. Chestnut Springs Powerless is my favorite of the Chestnut Springs series by Elsie Silver, and that's Sloane and Jasper, and they're played by Carly Robbins and Teddy Hamilton in that book, and this is also Teddy Hamilton and Carly Robbins in this book, so I felt like I just got to have my favorite characters meeting
funny,
again.
Because I did not fucking like Teddy Hamilton in this book.
Really?
Yeah, if we're going to discuss this whole fucking podcast week for all of our pre-training, Anthony Palmini fucked me all up. Not Teddy. Teddy was, but yeah, I'm still a Teddy girl. I'm just going to throw it out there. I really want Teddy to like write me a fucking thing for my, what is it? Like you can get like him to do like a voice message. Yeah, like, so, right? But fucking.
I have a dog named Isabel. And after I listened to this audiobook, all I can hear is Isabeau. And Teddy
he
Hamilton's
normally
voice.
Fucking does it for me. Normally I'm like juicing. I'm just like, oh my God, Teddy. Teddy, I'm wet. I can't dry off. Oh but this fucking week I was like, Anthony, oh my God, I'm blushing. I was all fucked up this week. I was like, what is happening? But he just wasn't, I don't know. He wasn't as raspy as he usually is. And Anthony Palmini was like, hey girl, you know you want to ride this dick. I don't know what it was, man. It was just, they fucked me all up this week. I don't know.
Every time he was like, Isabeau, I was like, yes.
Yeah, no, not
whatever
me.
you want, Teddy.
I was like, Teddy, you got to stop reading this. Teddy, I don't like this book.
I think that's because this book was just a lot worse for you in general with the content beyond Teddy Hamilton.
I would have rather just been like, and then he threw her against the wall and banged her. And then they ran through the woods and he banged her. I don't know. It was just, this would like, I was like, smut.
We'll have to do a dark
would have
romance.
been like way better for me.
Maybe I can get you to read Bourbon and Proof finally.
Oh my God.
All right. Well, now that we've completely gone off the rails with the end of this podcast, that was our coverage of In the Likely Event by Rebecca Yarros. We hope you enjoyed it. If you are watching on YouTube, I'm going to throw up a slide so you can see where you can follow us on social media, and we will see you in the next one.